All right, so for this video, this is MLS for land. It's very similar to the first video, MLS for homes. This will be comping properties that are lots, whether commercial or residential. So first thing is to go to Matrix and search and lots and acreage with a quick search. First thing to do, just like the homes video, is uncheck everything and check solds within the last 9 months, which is 270 days. The next thing is you're going to search a full mile radius of your subject property. Let's just say our subject property is Timberview Court. That one is a lot that we actually contracted. So we'll use that one as a reference point. Looks like there's 4 matches that came up. Now we're gonna look at the results. The first thing you always wanna pay attention to when comping properties is residential versus commercial. Commercial properties only comp with commercial properties, and residential properties only comp with residential properties. When you have multifamily lots, that same thing applies, where you're only gonna comp it to multifamily land. So what this will do is it's going to break it down into acreage. You can always ask Siri or Google how much square feet is in this acreage, so you can know how far or close you are to your subject property. But the goal is to get as close as you can to your subject property for the acreage. So instead of all those comps criteria like a house, really the main thing you're looking at is residential versus commercial, and then making sure you're getting the closest in size. I think ours is 0.32 acres, so it looks like we have one that is pretty close, and I will go ahead and check. And then these two are actually pretty close as well, not too much bigger in square footage. So obviously they sold at a higher amount for the additional 0.1 to 0.12 acreage. But the biggest thing we want to do is next see how long the days on the market are. So this particular lot sold in 15 days, which means a very hot area, and it actually sold for more than the asking price. Listed at 50 and sold at 55. So what we'll do is we'll look at these next lots, which probably are purchased by the same buyer. And it looks like they listed them for $45,000. And they have a sold price of $115,000. So what we can kind of gauge here when we go back to all of the lots is that these 3 lots, which are side by side, as we can see, are sold for all 3 for $115,000. So as you can see on that first one, they kind of put it as $45,000 each. And let's see if that would be the case. 45,000 is 135. So one of them sold for less than 45,000. They grouped it up because 45 times 3 is 135. So somewhere along the line, I think they got all 3 of these lots at 115 for the average of 45,000 per lot. So if we're looking at 3 lots that sold for 45, and the first lot that sold for 55, it's gonna be a rough ARV of about 45 to 50,000. I'd say a 50,000 ARV. And actually it's not an ARV when it comes to land, it's just simply a retail price or a resale price. So that's how you run comps on land. And if you're not able to find land, you can always hit the criteria and push out up to 2 miles to see if you have no comparable sales for your lots. And again, you always want to look at residential first, size it up by closest in size. So I'll just 0.32. So really all these 0.45s and lesser can get included. It looks like we have another $41,000 sale and a $42,000 sale. It's safe to say that this resale price would be a safe range of about $50,000 to $55,000. The goal is to contract lots at the resale price minus at least $10,000 on that. So we have that at least minimal $10,000 spread. but the goal is a $16,000 fee and more. And we always want to check the map and see where everything is pinpointed when it comes to our comps. Make sure they're, if they are crossing major highways, make sure it's not a huge difference in neighborhood. Looks like if we have a few crossing the highway, major highway of 30 or 820. But nonetheless, they all sold around the same price. So it's safe to say again, 50 to 50,000, 55,000 on resale price. You want to do the same thing when it comes to the houses. I did not mention that in the MLS house video, but I always want to check, especially for houses, if you're crossing any major highways, when you're outside of your same subdivision, which is the goal. And this concludes our video for MLS with land.